So I started my business nearly 2 years ago, and the biggest mistake I did costed me a lot. First of all, in terms of time, and second of all, in terms of money. And I noticed that a lot of people, when starting their own business, do the same mistake as the one that I did. So the thing that I did wrong was that I wanted to know everything before I started my business. So I wanted to learn every single thing. And for context, my business was a marketing agency, and I'm still running that business. But when I started, I wanted to know every single thing about it. And because of that, I was looking at tutorials about how to do everything. And like, I won't lie to you, but it took me like nearly 1 year to learn everything that I wanted to learn. And after that, like the summer came, and I told myself like, let's just start this business because now I learned everything, and I had a Notion page where I put everything down and every single thing that I learned. So I started my business, and I thought like I knew everything that is to know. And when I started to work, I noticed that I only know like quarter of what I actually need to know. So I started to work on it, and I started to learn a lot of things about like how everything works. And it was a big lesson for me because now that I think about it, like in retrospective, I know that I lost like a good amount of time in which I could like actually work and actually try things and see how things are working. Because if I like, let's say if I only learned about that business for like 2 months, I could be 10 months further that I am right now. And thinking about it, like having 10 months above what I have right now would mean a lot, because like who knows where I'd be in 10 months. And if I didn't do that, like I would be a lot better. But the biggest problem is that I noticed that a lot of new entrepreneurs, like when starting a business, they think that they need to know everything as I did. And I just wanted to let you know that you don't need to know everything, and you won't be able to, because it's one thing to watch tutorials and maybe even do courses about how to do it. And it's a whole different new thing to actually work on that business, because you'll find out that everything is different than you thought. And it's one thing to know things in theory, and it's other to put them in practice. And I can tell you, the best way to learn about your business isn't to watch tutorials. It's actually to, like, yeah, you can watch a little bit to know how a few things work, but after you know the basics, you need to work on the business, because the best way and also the fastest way to learn things is to work on the business and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes that you make, because we as people learn best from our mistakes. And also, learning from your mistakes is like free. You don't need to pay anything for them unless you do like a very big mistake, but that's very rare and it probably won't happen. And I'm saying that because if you don't have the capital to invest in a course, the best thing is to learn from your mistakes. And also, like as I said, the fastest way, I'm repeating myself here, but it's very important to know that you need to learn from your mistakes. And also, I noticed that some people, when learning about their business, like they it's also a form of procrastination, because when you learn about a business, it's easy, but when you actually apply it, that's when the hard part comes, and you want to postpone that like hard things, so you procrastinate on them and you tell yourself that you need to learn more. But that only happens to like a few people. Like I'm not saying that everyone has this. Like for example, I didn't have this. Like I genuinely thought that I need to know everything before I started my business, and I thought that it was impossible to start it if I don't know everything. And after I knew, and after I thought I knew everything, like I actually only knew like a small part. So yeah, just learn the basics, then start your business, then make mistakes, learn from them, and just don't think that you need to learn everything before you start because it's possible to know everything in theory, but when you put it in practice, that's impossible. So you need to do it yourself to know it. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.